I'm Dr. Gail Dubinsky, orthopedic medicine and yoga instructor in Sebastopol, Northern California. Today's strand of yoga pearls, somewhat of a next level sequence, is going to be done in what is, I guess you could call, straddle pose. We're going to stretch our legs out, and we don't have to be doing the Chinese splits here, but just a reasonable amount for you. If this is difficult and you cannot keep your spine from slumping, then you can go ahead and sit on a firm folded blanket or folded beach towel or a very firm pillow. It just needs to not be squishy. And in this situation, you do want to sit a little further back than we often do when we're sitting on a support, because you want to support more of your thighs, so you're not putting an undue stretch on the insertion of the hamstrings and the adductors way up in the sit bone area. Okay, so we're going to start with stringing together some of the pearls we may have visited in the past. Sufi grind. We're going to be doing a hula hoop action using the solar plexus moving in a circle. So we're going to be breathing, inhaling forward, exhaling back. So this entire sequence is going to be a next level opening for the back and hips and hamstrings and adductors, inner thighs as well. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. We'll do about maybe 30 seconds each side. So it's as if you're doing a slow motion hula hoop, really muscularly moving all around the digestive area. Make sure you haven't recently eaten. Okay, let's reverse direction. So again, I'm demonstrating sitting on the lift. If you're having a hard time keeping your spine from slumping, or it's really uncomfortable, you stretching the legs without. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and come off my lift now. And our next sequence will be spinal flex. So we'll go ahead and you can hold on to your legs, and you want to make sure that your feet are pointing straight up, your knees are pointing straight up, that your legs don't roll in or out. And we're going to, again, using mostly the low back and solar plexus area, lower thoracic area, inhaling forward, exhaling back. So the head is a minor component of the movement. We're not leaning forward and back. We're really trying to really inflate the front on the inhale and inflate the back on the exhale. Breathing through the nose. This just gives a little variation to this cross-legged spinal flex, or the sitting in a chair or sitting on your heels spinal flex. Just gives a little extra dimension. You can also have your hands on the floor, but I find that it's better to keep them on your legs. But there are some yoga sequences where we actually do this, putting some pressure on our hands on the floor. Okay. So the next is going to be a spinal twist. So we're going to take, as we always do to begin, a breath in, lifting the spine, and then we're going to turn our belly, ribs, and chest away from the leg we're turning away from, and make sure that the leg doesn't go with us. So we don't want the leg to be going with us. So you might want to at first keep your hand on your leg and just kind of keep it there as we turn. Or you can just have your hand inside the knee or the shin, and bring our belly, ribs, and chest to face the other foot. And then coming back to center. Inhale. Exhale, turning, leaving the leg behind, turning toward the other leg, belly, ribs, and chest. We can take the hand outside and come back to center. Let's do that one more time. Inhale up, exhale, turn. You can actually push a little bit this leg down. And this is a very secure position for the sacroiliac joints. So those of us that have those kinds of issues, this kind of symmetric, stable position is excellent. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of a forward bend with the twist. And if, again, you go to the level that is comfortable for you. I like to talk about the 80% rule, where you don't go any further than is going to excite a response that's gripping, anxious, and wanting to get out of there. That's a sympathetic fight or flight response, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do when we're practicing yoga. So let's take our breath in, exhale, spin to the first side, and leaving that leg behind, we're going to just lean out. Basically, you're going to be leaning out over the inner leg, aiming your chest toward that knee, your eyes toward the foot, and you just want to keep that sit bone on the ground. Notice that my leg wants to turn in. That's my particular restriction I have in my hips, so you just really want to use that other arm to keep the leg straight up. You can also bring your other hand on the leg or on the side of the leg. In fact, it's nice to have it on the side of the leg because then you can really press down and lift that chest and lean over. Notice I'm not telling you to put your head on your leg. We're not going for that. Now you could stay here for a while and you would get a little further with each breath, but we'll just, for the purposes of the clip, come back, inhale, exhale, turn. Again, you can take your hand out, you can take this hand here. I find that if I take my hand here and this hand here, that really helps me turn. Inhale, but this also keeps the leg stable. And then you can lean a little bit, keeping the sit bone grounded. It'll get light, but don't let it just fly up. Keep this thigh bone really grounded. So again, it's not about how far you go. In fact, the stiffer you are, the less you have to do to get the same response. What are we trying to do here? We're trying to open up the hip, the side of the body, the back, and if you only have to go an inch and you get the desired result, you don't have to go any further. You don't have to think you have to go any further. It's not about what it looks like, it's what your internal experience is. Okay, so let's try a little bit forward. Take a breath in, and then exhale again. Just lean from the hips. Don't collapse the spine. You don't want to have your back going backwards and rounding. You want to see if you can stretch your belly out, your chest out, your third eye point out. You can have your hands on your legs. You can have your hands on the floor, wherever it feels right for you. And again, you can be sitting on your lift the whole time. So again, you could stay here. You really want to try to keep those feet up, the knees facing up, the feet facing up, and keep the legs fairly actively pressing down. So this is not just kind of noodle stretching. You're working. This is an active, you're working the legs while you're releasing the inner thighs, the low back. And if we stood here or sat here long enough, we might be able to get our forearms on the ground. Who knows, maybe you could get your head on the ground, but that's not what it's about. So let's take another breath in before we come up. Release any holding or tension you have in this pose. And then again, very important, come up with your hands. You've just created a maximum stretch. You don't want to engage muscles that you've just completely relaxed. Okay, and then carefully with your hands, bring your legs together. So, strand of pearls, Sufi grind, spinal flex, twist, little forward bend in the straddle position. Please visit the yoga YouTube channel for the ever-growing collection of yoga clips and my website RX Yoga for the DVDs RSI RX Yoga and Yoga for Gardeners for longer yoga sequences. Namaste.